we're back. This screen that you are seeing right now is queued up our next demo. It's The Walking Dead by Telltale Games, and we've got our guest Victor here.
Richard.
Richard.
That's fine.
We just met literally seconds ago. We're here to show off The Walking Dead. Richard, obviously hugely popular graphic novel, then AMC TV series, and now you guys are taking it to the video game realm.
Right.
Pretty exciting for you?
Little bit.
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So what are you trying to do here, you know, as we sort of watch where we're starting off here? Do you want to set the stage for folks?
So we're about 5 minutes into the first episode right now. It's an episodic game. We've got 5 episodes coming out. The first one's actually going to hit, hopefully, within the next week or so. We're trying to get it out before the end of April. And then we'll have a further 4 episodes that will come out on a monthly basis thereafter.
Okay, so sticking with your, it's right in your wheelhouse, Telltale. You guys have been doing episodic adventures for a while.
Right.
But very different takes and on very different source material.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I guess we started going a little bit darker with some of the stuff that you saw in Jurassic Park, but I mean, this thing has gone the whole way. I mean, we wanted to create something that was absolutely 100% authentic to Robert Kirkman's world. The game is actually canon to the comic books, so the stuff that you see happening in the game kind of, in some ways, leads into the events that you see in the comic books. So you're going to meet Glenn, for example, before he hooks up with Rick Grimes in Atlanta. You're going to see Herschel's farm before all the crazy stuff happens there. And we've also got this character in there called Lily. And if you're familiar with the comic books, Lily has, even though she's only in the comic books for maybe like 2 or 3 panels, she has a huge impact on Rick Grimes' life. So we felt, let's rewind, let's see what made Lily become the person that she is in the comic books.
What led her to that intersection
exactly,
with the character that folks familiar with the source material know so well. So there's not, so Rick Grimes, you're not playing as him. There's no press A to challenge Rick Grimes' authority button. But our character now seems to be in pretty dire straits, although finding a gun is always a good thing when it's a zombie apocalypse.
So this is right at the beginning of the apocalypse, if you like. So at this point, if you're looking at it from a comic book timeline, this is right when Rick's in a coma.
Yep.
So our lead character here, Lee Everett, Lee was actually being transported to prison when the apocalypse started to happen. He was in the back of a police cruiser, which actually crashed, ended up in the situation that you see on screen right now. And he's trying to get free of his cuffs. He's been injured, obviously, by the crash, so he's not, like you said, in very good shape right now. And this leads into the rest of the story.
And now, talk for a minute about the interface we're seeing here. It's sort of a ghostly 4-way reticle. You know, it's targeting places of interest. Yeah. This is a bit of a different way of interacting with the world than you guys have done before.
Yeah, I mean, so just from a visual standpoint, first of all, I mean, we're definitely trying to make this game look like it's coming from the comic book world. You know, this is kind of, in a way, it's an homage to Charlie Adler, who is the comic book artist right now in The Walking Dead. So we've got those thick black outlines and stuff like that. But we wanted to create a game this time where you've got full interactivity with the environment. For example, unlike Jurassic Park, where you were basically cutting between different camera angles to see different places in the environment, you have full control over Lee here. So as well as being to move Lee around the environment, you can obviously interact with all these hotspots, as you say. And this is obviously more of an action-style moment, but we do have more adventure game-style gameplay where there are puzzles to solve, but not like the crazy Monkey Island-style puzzle. These are challenges that you would face if you found yourself in a zombie apocalypse. Right.
No one's setting up elaborate Rube Goldberg traps at this moment in order to let you in or give you access to a certain item.
Correct, yeah. So right now, Lee's looking up on the hill there at that mysterious figure, and that mysterious figure is going to play a very important part as we move into the next part of the game.
It's that moment where you think to yourself, I've just been attacked by a crawling monster of a human. Do I want to call out to this mysterious figure? But if they look, you know, they're not coming with the sole purpose to kill me, so yes, help me out here.
You've got to remember that, you know, at this point, Lee has no idea what's going on. He's just crashed in this car. The apparently dead cop has suddenly come back to life again. So now he's trying to figure out what's going on. But I think in this, you can see right now, he's suddenly getting a good idea that, you know, things aren't very good right now, yeah.
And now that the mysterious figure, you say, factors in later, an ensemble cast has always been crucial to The Walking Dead. You know, different people and how they experience the event, how they deal with walkers, and then having multiple people in peril. I presume we're going to meet a bunch more people along the way.
You're going to have a group of survivors. Like I said, you're going to bump into Glenn before he heads into Atlanta. You'll see him here in episode 1. But one of the things that you said is actually hugely important. You know, The Walking Dead is really a story about human relationships and what happens to humans when they're forced into that crucible of an apocalypse event. So this is really about those relationships, and the way that we handle that in the game is that choice is a huge part of this game. For the first time for a Telltale game, you're going to make decisions and choices which actively affect the story that you will experience. So not only the way that the story branches, but the way that different individuals that you encounter respond to you.
Okay.
You know, you could be kind of an ass to someone, they're going to remember that. You could be really nice to them and they're going to remember your loyalty, and all of that will factor into the story that you end up experiencing. So even as large as, you know, you might be in a situation where one person's going to live, you know, there are two people right there, you can only save one. Who are you going to save? And then you've got to live with that decision and that choice for the rest of the story arc.
And I think that resonates really well with, you know, what's part of every fan's, or every person, whenever you sort of read or imagine the zombie apocalypse, you think, how would I do? How would I survive? What kind of choices would I make?
Yeah, and that's the question that we basically ask you with this game, is like, what would you do in the zombie apocalypse? And that creates your own story.
Very cool. Cynthia, what are folks thinking about The Walking Dead?
We've got a lot of comments about the art style and how they appreciate how it's remaining true to the comic, or at least that's what it seems like.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to do that. I think what happened, if I remember correctly, is that, you know, they tried to take the styles of the 2D artwork that you see in the comic book and transpose them into a 3D game space. And I especially like when you move through the doorway right here and see inside this environment. I think our artists have just done a phenomenal job of really staying true to the comic book roots, but still making it viable visually as a video game. Because obviously when you start doing, you know, a lot of people have asked us, well, I'd love to see a black and white game mode, but even though black and white's great, black and white works kind of when you've got, you know, flat images, but when you start going into 3D space, there are all sorts of complications that arise. So as much as we would have loved to create a black and white mode, we're sticking with color.
Now, give us a quick system tour here, because Telltale games have appeared on a lot of different platforms, a lot of different devices. What are we playing on now, and what can folks look forward to playing it on?
Right now we're playing on an Xbox 360. The game is going to be coming to Xbox 360 via Xbox Live, so you get that through the marketplace. Again, 5 episodes, and that will be 400 MS points per episode on Xbox Live. We're also bringing it to PlayStation Network, where it'll be $4.99 an episode. And then you will also be able to get it on PC and Mac. Now you can get that either through the Telltale online store, or you can get it through Steam. For the full 5-episode season, that's going to be $24.99, although we've got a great pre-order offer where you can become a zombie. If you do that, you also get 10% off in the Telltale store.
What do you think, Tom? You want to become a zombie? No desire to see yourself rent limb from limb on screen?
I'm the kind of guy who likes to
think of how simple your life would become. It's just about...
it would just be eating.
It's just a walking, dining experience.
That'd be it.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah, sure, you look like a horrible monster.
No worries
from the
anymore.
outside,
your arm's off. Who cares? I'm just going to go over there and eat.
It doesn't matter. It's raining. You're stuck in a ditch. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. So
we're also. I should point out we're also coming to iOS, so you'll be able to play it on iPad 2 and 3, I guess. But that's going to be coming out maybe a month after.
That'll be a little after.
A little bit after.
The other platform releases. Excellent. So 5 episodes to get yourself through a whole array of, you know, touching on familiar spots, but really forging your own way through The Walking Dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a game where, as I said, choice and decisions, the actions that you make have a huge impact on the story you'll experience. So again, you know, you might choose one path, your buddy might choose another, and the both of you will have experienced a very different game to each other.
Now, so that seems like the kind of thing that would encourage replay. You know, you want to see how it plays out if you may be a little nicer this time around.
Right.
How does that? But I imagine that, you know, your decisions in episode 1, are they going to carry through to episode 2, episode 3, or are you guys trying to keep it more contained?
If you imagine like a triangle that just keeps getting bigger and bigger as you go down towards the base, that's how it moves out in terms of your decisions and what could possibly happen, all these different, you know, outcomes that you get to. I'm sorry, repeat the question. What was it?
So it's just, I guess that was the question. How are your choices going to carry through and
absolutely.
Sort of ripple through the episode?
And the one thing that I should point out, though, is if you are that kind of person who wants to see all the different possible outcomes, then we absolutely encourage you to do that. So we've got something in there called the rewind function, which is essentially a chapter marker. And what you can do is, if, for example, you want to play the game all the way through, you can then copy that game into your other save game slots. and then you can go back to those chapter markers and then play forward from that decision that you previously make, and you can then see all the different outcomes of the game.
That's great. I love that idea.
Has Telltale learned the lessons of other developers who had a branching ending and story and did not satisfy people?
Well,
not to name any specific
any names or red, green, or blue endings or anything like that. No, it's so the ending of the game itself, in terms of the resolution of the game, it's like any story. It's a story. It's a discrete experience. So, you know, the end of the story basically is going to be the same resolution. It might have a slightly different way in which it's presented, but the way that you get there is where it branches, and, you know, who's alive or who's dead in your party of survivors, how those people who are alive in your party react to you, different locations and sort of times of day and stuff like that you'll see.
So you're telling the story, and players can move within the story, but it's your story that you're telling, basically.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And you guys are not flinching away from the violence inherent.
Yeah, we missed all that action right there. Job was doing a good job of pounding that nice lady's head in, so good work, Job.
I'm sure our viewers did not miss that. I was riveted that whole time.
That's actually, you know, like I said right at the outset, you know, we are absolutely not shying away from the hellishly dark world that Robert Kirkman created. You know, he's been involved in the process right from the get-go. He's been really happy with, you know, the direction and story, and definitely a fan of the violence that we've created. And, you know, like Robert says, he loves to torture people, and we're definitely going to do that in this game.
And you're definitely going to do that in this game. Awesome. You folks want to see some people tortured. Richard and the folks at Telltale Games are delivering later this April.
Correct, yes.
With The Walking Dead.
We'll have an announcement on the actual solid release date as soon as we possibly can.
Excellent. We'll look forward to hearing it. Richard, thank you so much for coming by and
showing it off.
I
appreciate it.
Much appreciated.